The story of Prophet Luth alaihissalam. Prophet Luth alaihissalam emigrated with his uncle Prophet Ibrahim alaihissalam to Egypt. The two of them lived there for some time, then returned to Palestine. On the way to Palestine, Prophet Luth asked permission from his uncle Prophet Ibrahim alaihissalam to go to the land of Sodom, near the Dead Sea in Jordan, because Allah had chosen him as his prophet and his messenger who was sent to that country. So the Prophet Ibrahim allowed him, and Prophet Luth went to Sodom and got married there. At that time, the morals of the people were very bad. They did not protect themselves from immoral acts and were not ashamed to commit evil, betray their friends, and commit robbery. Besides, they are doing abominable deeds that have never been done by anyone before in the universe. They come to men to release lust and leave women, homosexuals. At that time, the Prophet Luth alaihissalam invited the people of Sodom to believe and leave this heinous act. He said to them, "Why are you not fearful? Indeed, I am a trusted apostle, sent to you, so fear Allah and obey me. My reward is nothing but from the Lord of the universe. Why do you come to the kind of men among humans, and you leave the wives that your Lord has made for you, even you are transgressors?" Quran Surah Asy Surah 160-161. But the people of Luth did not care about this call. They were even arrogant towards him and mocked him. Even so, the Prophet Luth alaihissalam did not give up. He remained patient in preaching to his people, invites them wisely and politely. He forbids and warns them against committing evil and heinous acts. However, none of his people believed in him, and they preferred misguidance and disobedience. They even said to him with their rough hearts and challenged Allah, "Come to us Allah's punishment, if you are among the righteous." Quran Surah Al-Ankabut 29. They also threatened to expel the Prophet Luth alaihissalam from their village because he was indeed a foreigner. So Luth was angry with the attitude of his people. He and his believing family shunned them. His wife preferred to be an infidel and joined his people and helped his people to isolate him and make fun of him. Against his wife, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made a parable. God made Noah's wife and Lot's wife a parable for the disbelievers. Both are under the supervision of two pious servants among our servants. Then the two wives betrayed their respective husbands, so the husbands could not help them in the slightest from the torment of Allah. And it was said to both, "Enter into Jahannam with those who enter Jahannam." Quran Surah At-Tarim 10. The betrayal of Prophet Luth's wife to her husband was by disbelief and not believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent 3 angels in beautiful human form. Then they stopped first to meet Prophet Ibrahim alaihissalam. Prophet Ibrahim alaihissalam thought that they were humans, so Prophet Ibrahim immediately entertained them by slaughtering a fat calf, but they did not want to eat. The angels also gave good news to Prophet Ibrahim, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give him a child from his wife, namely Sarah named Ishaq alaihissalam. The angels then informed Prophet Ibrahim alaihissalam, that they were going to Sodom's country to punish its inhabitants for their disbelief and disobedience. Then the Prophet Ibrahim alaihissalam informed him that Luth was there, so the angels calmed him down by telling him that Allah would save him and his family apart from his wife who was a disbeliever. The angels left Ibrahim's house and went to Sodom's country, until they arrived at Luth's house, and they came as handsome young men. When Prophet Luth alaihissalam saw them, Prophet Luth was worried about their situation, and no one knew of their arrival apart from Prophet Luth's wife, until finally his wife came out of her house and informed her people about the arrival of Prophet Luth's handsome guests. So his people came rushing to the house of Prophet Luth with the intention of committing heinous acts with his guests. They gathered huddled near the door of his house while calling out to Prophet Luth in a loud voice, asking Prophet Luth to bring out his guests to them. Each of them hoped to have fun and channel their passions to his guests. Then the Prophet Luth prevented them from entering his house and prevented them from disturbing his guests. He said to them, "Surely they are my guests, so don't embarrass me and fear Allah and don't humiliate me." Quran Surah Al-Hijr 68-69. Prophet Luth also reminded them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had created women for them so that they could channel their lust, but Luth's people still wanted to enter his house. At that time, The Prophet Luth alaihissalam did not find someone who had sense from among them who could explain their mistakes, and finally the Prophet Luth felt weakness facing them, saying, "If only I had the strength to reject you, or if I could take refuge in a strong family, of course I do." Quran Surah Hud 80. It was then that the guests of Prophet Luth told Prophet Luth who they were, and that they were not humans but angels who had come to inflict punishment on their wicked people. Not long after, Luth's people broke down the door of his house and met the angels. Then one of the angels blinded their eyes and they returned staggering between the walls of the house. Then the angels asked Prophet Luth to go with his family at night, because the doom would befall them in the morning. They also advised him that he and his family should not look back when the punishment came, so that it would not befall them. At night, the Prophet Luth alaihissalam and his family left the country of Sodom. After they left it and it was dawn, Allah sent them a painful doom that befell the land. At that time, the land was shaken with a violent shaking. An angel uprooted the land with the tips of his wings and lifted it up into the sky, then turned the land over. The top became down and the bottom became up, then they were showered with hot stones in succession. Allah Ta'ala said, "So when our doom came, we made the land of the people of Luth the top down, we turned it over, and we showered them with stones from the ground that were burning in succession, which was marked by your Lord, and the torment is not far from the wrongdoers." Quran Surah Hud 82-83. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved Prophet Luth and his family besides his wife with the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they kept the message, were grateful for Allah's favors and worshipped him. So the Prophet Luth and his family set a good example in terms of chastity and self-cleanliness, while his people became a bad example and a lesson for generations to come after him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "And we left in the land a sign for those who fear the painful punishment." Quran Surah Az-Zariyat 37. The stories of Prophet Luth can be seen in several places in the Quran, including Quran Surah Al-Araf 80-84, Quran Surah Hud 69-83, Quran Surah Al-Hijr 51-77, Quran Surah As-Surah 160-175, Quran Surah An-Naml 54-58, Quran Surah Al-Ankabut 28-35, Quran Surah Ash-Shafat 133-138, Quran Surah Az-Zariyat 31-37, and Quran Surah Al-Qamar 33-40.